Hey, everybody. Welcome to So Many Sequels, your book club for movies. I'm Josh.
I'm Garrett.
And I'm David.
And welcome to the summer of Spielberg in space.
Oh my God.
I'm so excited about
it.
We're like,
banger,
Ugh.
banger.
It's so fun. It's so fun. We're talking about E.T. today, so we'll get into that here in a little bit. But we've already, that was my dog.
It sounded like
coughing.
somebody dropped some pans. Dang,
Yeah.
Ralph. Get it together, bro.
Anyway, we're talking about E.T. today, but we've already talked about Close Encounters of the Third Kind, so you should go check that out on our YouTube channel, So Many Sequels, or Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get podcasts. Go find it there. I think it's streaming. I actually saw it's streaming on Peacock now, like as of a couple days after we recorded it.
I know.
What
I saw
in
the
the
same
world?
thing. It was
Yep.
so
Good
I
for
was so
it.
mad.
Listen,
I
I'm
know.
not upset that I bought it out of it. It was $4.
Look, dudes, yet again, somehow we are on the bleeding edge of something. Every
Yes, we are.
time we
Every
drop
time.
an episode, that movie comes up somewhere. Either
That's
it's
because we are
newly on
hot
Peacock.
on the trends. We were
I
like
don't
months ago, hey, let's do a Spielberg thing. He's got a movie coming out. He's got a lot of space movies. And you know what all the streamers are
It's
doing?
true.
They're releasing Spielberg space movies.
Yes,
true. And
we're
they
ahead
did.
of this. We're
see you
right
guys.
we're right where we want to be. We're just
the 20 people that watch us
2 days,
are
just
all
1 week
CEO
early.
executives at various different companies. Then they listen to certain things, but they don't listen to the good feedback that we get.
We don't
We
have a
just
lot of
steal
friends, but they're
we
very
steal our
elite.
ideas.
Yeah. Yeah. So this week we're talking about E.T., the Extra-Terrestrial. I've got the log line from Letterboxd in here. We'll go ahead and start with that. An alien is left behind on Earth and saved by the 10-year-old Elliot, who decides to keep him hidden in his home. While a task force hunts for the Extra-Terrestrial, Elliot, his brother, and his little sister Gertie form an emotional bond with their new friend and try to help him find his way home. David, how did this movie do when it came out? E.T. was another big notch in Steven Spielberg's belt when it was released.
I mean, an argument could be made that E.T. is one of the most successful films of all time. While it's not like number one all time in the box office, we're going to go through these stats, and it is a prolific set of records and stats that E.T. is the owner of. So let's just go to opening weekend, June 11th. So this is actually almost exactly like the anniversary of when we're recording this. We're recording this on the 7th of 2026.
Nice.
So we are right on the cusp of the actual release date. Back in 1982, it was the number one movie that weekend with 11.8 million, which is not, a massive number in 1,100 theaters, but number one with 11.8. This is a heck of a weekend, guys. I'm about to read an amazing, imagine you are 12 to 15 years old and you have money to go to the movies this weekend. These are your options. You have E.T., the Extra-Terrestrial.
Great choice.
Josh might like this one. Star Trek II, Wrath of Khan was number 2 that weekend with 9.4.
Hey, we all like that one, I think.
Yes. Rocky 3 at 8.2 in the number 3 spot. Poltergeist is at number 4 with 5.3. And then you have Grease 2 debuting with 4.6 million. You also have some other classics that were just in theaters that weekend, including Porky's, Conan the Barbarian, The Road Warrior was in theaters that weekend. In
Animal
various
or
places. Both.
Nice.
All the Road Warriors. Huge weekend. Now, E.T. would go on to make a collective $359 million in the United States, 102. The international numbers are a little sketchy from back then, but at least 102,000 overseas. Massive worldwide total of 359 million. Now, here's the best part. So, E.T. was in theaters for almost pretty much a full year in theaters.
Dang.
Okay, it was the number one movie in America for 6 straight weeks before it dropped to number 2. Then went back to number 1 for 2 more weeks. Then dropped to number 2. Then back to number 1 for 3 more weeks. Then number 2. Then back to number 1 for 2 more weeks. It did not drop out of the top 5 until its 28th week in theaters. It was constantly in the top 5, making $2 to $3 million, $4 million some weeks, $9 million some weeks for 28 straight weeks. And then didn't drop out of the top 10 until January of 1983 in its 34th weekend. excuse me, that's when it hit the top. That's when it hit number 10. It did drop out of the top 10 until February in its 36 weeks. This movie did not make less than $1 million until almost 35 weeks after its release. Just a long, like powerful juggernaut. And I said that, but it dropped back into the top 10 by President's Day. This movie was a holiday movie for multiple holidays. Like, and then its final week in theaters was June 3rd of 1950 or of 1983, where it brought in another $1 million in its final week of theaters. Like,
Wow.
Dang.
and that's just its first run, because it's obviously had re-releases and it's had multiple remaster. It had a remastered version that came out later, the famous one where they replaced the guns with walkie-talkies and things like that. So one of the all-time greats. If you go to 1982 as a year, Spielberg's on it twice, because he has E.T., then he has Raiders of the Lost Ark as the number 2 movie. E.T.'s number 1 with 314 million, Raiders number 2 with 190 million. Rocky 3, On Golden Pond, and An Officer and a Gentleman round out the top 5 there. Just a huge film for Spielberg, but also just the theaters in general, just a powerhouse family movie that lots of people go to. It is our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's our 8th Spielberg film that we've done here for this podcast. It is our 3rd film from 1982, which, where did I have that at?
I bet it's Raiders of the Lost Ark or whatever one you said about Indiana Jones earlier.
Yep. It would
Yes,
almost
and
certainly
also
have
we
to
did.
be.
We also did The Thing, and we did
Oh.
Halloween 3. Also came out in
Nice,
those
nice.
years, according to what my notes have here. So that's E.T. for, and I think I looked this up too. Last little detail: adjusted for inflation, E.T. has a total worldwide run of $2.2 billion when adjusted for
That is
inflation.
Pitbull level money.
Just below
Mr.
Jaws.
Worldwide.
Just below Jaws.
Wow,
I mean,
just
inflation will
below
get you,
Jaws.
especially the 2020 inflation will help a lot of
Inflation will
folks.
get you.
But yeah, so adjusted just behind Jaws is the number 2 movie of Spielberg's career in terms of that. But anyway,
let me ask you guys this question. I don't think there's a way to compare that to something modern.
Agreed.
But if we could, I mean, this made almost $1 billion in its long run overseas, right? I mean, that's
over
a success.
time, yeah.
I mean, yeah, but still, I mean, that model, you would say that was a next success. I just think, again, we mentioned in the last episode, and I'm sure it'll come up again throughout these episodes, so I apologize. But that book that I have read by Paul Fisher about the soul of American cinema, that goes into Spielberg and Coppola, one of the things, and oh my God, Lucas, one of the things that they talk about behind the scenes is that this is the time period when they also changed, or it's like you'd see changes in the box office. It used to be that movies was like longevity is what mattered.
Yeah.
How long your movie could stay in a theater and bring in money. That was the success. You talk about Gone with the Wind and how long that was in the theater because people had no way to see it. Then over time, they started changing it to where it became down to the opening weekend.
Yeah, cram it all in now.
And now you see where we're at now, where it's not, it doesn't even matter almost it's like opening day. Opening weekend is still essentially what it matters. But then it doesn't matter after that. If it doesn't make any money outside of opening weekend, then it's never going to make any money again. And I wish we could go back to that other model of less is more. Again, that's the reason people get so excited about Christopher Nolan movies is because he doesn't come out with them just willy-nilly. Disney comes out with a movie willy-nilly, and lately they've been doing better of pacing themselves. But if these studios would just slow the frick down and leave their movies in theaters longer, people might go see them in the theaters. That's just a theory based on the past, and E.T. seems to confirm.
Yeah, well, and it is a unique run. I mean, E.T. is is among
Sure,
unique
it is
runs.
the unicorn, of
It
course.
is, I mean, because you look at other examples of films that dominated for a very long time. I think I just pulled up the top 10, like some of the top 10 longest runs. Titanic is in there for a long run in the top 10. The most Home Alone was dominant, and I think was even still in theaters almost by the
I think
following
last year
Christmas.
it's still in theaters.
They released that one. Dances with Wolves was in theaters for a long time. In terms of really recently, the best runs of a movie in the top 10 just since 2020, let's go since 2020, are Spider-Man No Way Home had a 17-week run in the top 10. That's obviously pandemic era, but also
Mhm.
that also goes for Top Gun Maverick, which had a 22-week or 21-week run in the top 10. And that's, I mean, hitting the 20 something weeks, that's about the limit. And ET is really unique in staying in the top 10 for almost 30 something.
Sure.
And so yeah, I think you're right though, is that a lot of movies have figured a lot of I mean, the schedule for movies became so crowded, and especially like the concept came about of like a tent pole. Like, we got to carve out a week where we're the movie to go see. And then everybody else, like, okay, well, if they've got June 11th, somebody's got to land on June the week after that, right? So there's a lot of cutting into each other. And then, um, you know, I think you're right. Like, it's hard to stay in for over a month for some of these places, but that is a goal that can work is if you stay in theaters and just give people opportunity
Yeah.
to see you.
And I think that, like, some of these bigger studios, I know that they can't because they're all basically one studio at this point. But, like, if they didn't release one every week, maybe they just slowed down, made good movies, and they too would have a reputation that would say, "Oh my goodness, there's a new Warner Brothers movie coming out. Oh my god." I get the tentpole ideas and
Mhm.
stuff. It's an easy way to make your money. And they talk about that in that book too. And that's a huge thing of like tentpoles as a strategy and a purposeful one. And that's what like Paramount has done forever. Is like you've got your tentpole people, those are the things that'll make you money, and everything else is like whatever.
Yeah,
But
it is
I just think
interesting
I think we're
because
so I think we're trying to again box ourselves out to where everything is just like opening weekend and then the next thing. And that goes
yeah,
to such short attention spans that we all have, and it just highlights a bigger issue. But anyway, that's way
I
beyond
know,
the
but I
ideas
think
of
you're
this
right though.
podcast.
I think that there is, some of that is audience behavior as well because, some of this it's like they left it in, it was making like $1 million every weekend. And it's hard to even imagine a movie that would make, still be making $1 million
Sure.
after a month of being in theaters anymore. Like I think that's, some audience behavior is like, I didn't see it opening weekend. I'll just wait. I don't know why
Because the
I don't know why we're
expectation
in
is
this, that it's going to be there,
it'll be on a
you
streamer available to rent, and I won't need to go see
and
it in theaters.
we're going too long on box office now, but
Right.
the one of the more recent ones I can think of is it was Inside Out 2. They had like a special like 100-day window that they did for that, and it did incredibly well and did well for multiple weeks, and even I think into its second month. So I think you're right. Is if there was no, hey, this is going to be on TV, this is going to be on DVD, it's going to be on streaming option, maybe there's more opportunity to get people going there. Let's talk about
Well,
okay. So
yeah, let's talk
switching
They
about
should
gears,
go.
ET.
They should destroy movies after they leave theaters. Destroy them.
tax write off.
You see it in the theater, or you never see it ever. That's the only way.
Oh my.
Anyway, yeah, E.T. had an amazing run in the box office, obviously, as we just discussed. Let's talk about the movie itself, though, and how it relates to our overall theme of Spielberg in space. If Close Encounters kind of served as the introduction, which it did for our purposes, it was also I believe it was Spielberg's first alien encounter movie.
Mhm.
It was the one that was about the mystery and wonder and wow of the aliens. And
Mhm.
I felt like that ET is still about that to a degree, but introduces this new layer of a little bit of fear about them and anxiety that didn't exist in the first one, or not the first one, but in the Close Encounters as much. Um, I found that it was almost an evolution of sorts. I thought in storytelling, that was really cool. But ET, what do you guys have? Do you guys have a childhood relationship with this movie? Did you watch it a bunch? Did you watch it at all? Um,
I'm sure I
Opening thoughts
watched
on
it.
that.
I'm sure I watched it a bunch as a kid,
Yeah.
but I don't think I've seen it in like 25 years, probably.
Mm-hmm.
It's not one that I sit down to watch. There's some childhood movies that I know are just really bad, like Richie Rich, right? That's a childhood movie that I'll go back and watch because I know it's going to be stupid, right? It's going to be great.
Sure.
It's going to be a kid's movie. I have a
Sure.
fear that movies like E.T. won't hold up to the nostalgia, even though they're like lauded and praised. Just in my mind, I'm worried that it won't hold up to what I saw or felt as a kid, right? So many of them don't. And so for me, the memory is sometimes sweeter than the revisit. And so I hadn't seen it in like 25 years after many, many watches as a kid.
Like, similar. It's possible it's been 30 years. Like
Yeah.
Whoa.
I would imagine that I probably watched this sometime between the ages of 5 and 10, but I could not tell you exactly when. Um, so yeah, I mean, and I remember having positive feelings. I remember loving it. There was a ton though this watch I had no memory of. I just didn't remember
That's
any of
great
these
though.
details, aspects, plot elements. Like there was just a ton of info that I was like, I don't remember this at all. So I'm excited to dissect those. But
Like a frog.
yeah, like a frog. But yeah, I mean, but I had positive memories of it. I never had, like I always kind of held it in this really high esteem.
Yeah, I remember watching it a bunch as a kid, on a VHS. But again, it's very similar to you guys. It's like I stopped watching it as a kid too, because I hadn't seen it in very many years. So it felt fresh in a lot of ways. I didn't remember a lot of small details and some surprising twists here and there, which was fun. It was like watching it for the first time, sort of. Um, but I really felt a lot of nostalgia for it. I think revisiting it this time, even though I hadn't seen it in so long, it felt familiar in a really good way. One thing that I could not help but notice is that I felt, and maybe this has been stated somewhere, that this movie has to have been an enormous inspiration for Stranger Things, right?
Mhm.
Like
I feel like it is.
down to every little detail,
Yeah, I feel like
which is
this
great.
inspired a ton. You look at the
Yeah.
work that Spielberg's done and how this was laid out, like it certainly has influenced so many
Mhm.
pieces of work.
Yeah, at first my first thought was, man, all the like kids who love Stranger Things today and are sad that it ended, they should watch ET. They've probably never seen it and
I
they'll really like it.
They could watch that whole list of 80s movies that we
That's
just laid out, and, like,
that's
that's
true.
all of it pours into the pop cultural swirl that influences Stranger Things and honestly most of 2000s, movie culture.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Um, so the movie opens kind of mysteriously with a spaceship
Mhm.
scene in a forest. We don't get much. We see some glimpses of some alien type things. Um, but it's more of just a setting the stage for what's to come, I guess. And then Elliot ends up finding him just kind of on accident in the tool shed, right?
Yes. Yeah, and I have to say too, the design of the ET ship was very Close Encounters.
It was
I
very
was kind of
reminiscent.
interested by how similar the overall vibe of the aliens was, the aesthetics.
So I feel like there's a listen, I this is just based on books and me making some connections here. So again, they talk about how after Close Encounters, Spielberg had a darker alien movie that he was working on, but also wanted to work on this one from a child's perspective, right? And so they
Mhm.
kind of split into two different things. One became ET, one ended up becoming Poltergeist, um, which I thought was interesting. But
Very.
I think that I think that Steven's got a lot of connection to these two, Close Encounters and ET, and so I think that there's like it's like a pseudo sequel. Spaceship comes, it looks like the spaceship from Close Encounters, but not
Mhm.
quite. There's one scene in the beginning when So all of the people run up and are looking at like little flashlights, and
Yeah.
that scene reminded me when the cop car flew off the ship, and
Mhm.
everybody was kind of looking off into the distance, and then ET gets left behind off of this ship because they're running back. And so I think that they could be connected in the same way. And I think this one flips the script of where you mentioned some of the fear that you get from this. I think it does a really good job of showing you more of what you saw in the opening of Close Encounters with the boy who got abducted. You see it from his perspective rather
Mhm.
than an adult. And instead of an adult, you get the government, right? Like, I think
Right.
that they do a good job of kind of flipping that and giving you that childlike sense of wonder and the difference between what a kid sees and what adults see and when fear takes over versus childlike wonder.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And yeah.
I watched a Blu-ray version of this, shout out Physical Media, so I had some special
Nice.
features to watch, and there was a interview with Spielberg that I had time to watch before this, where he said a lot of what you're saying, that after Close Encounters, he had this idea of like, what if one of the aliens didn't go back? What if he stayed behind? And what would that look like? And that is kind of what eventually birthed this movie in a lot of ways, which was pretty cool. He also said that this is a very personal movie for him. Um,
It feels
not
like it.
not just because of the alien aspect, but because of the divorce aspect with
Yeah.
Mary. He said that he knew he wanted to do another alien movie, and he knew he wanted to do a movie exploring divorce from the perspective of a preteen, because it's what he experienced. So he managed to fit them both into here, which I thought was really, really interesting because it did add so many layers to the kids. And it gave me even more of that. I hate to say Stranger Things feel because it's the reverse, right? Stranger Things is what
Sure.
inspired
But
it,
it's connectable that
but
way.
it works so well. And it's what helped create this genre, I think, because kids there's this layer of Mary, the mom, who is like just kind of distracted with everything, and she's just thinking about her husband or her ex husband off in Mexico with Sally, and the kids are just kind of having this whole adventure with an alien completely under her nose in some really obvious ways, and they are totally unnoticed. So
Hmm.
that was really interesting because it made me think, oh, so that makes me feel that Spielberg kind of process that as his feeling kind of just invisible or not noticed maybe as much as a kid during his parents' divorce. A lot of interesting things going on there.
Oh, for sure. And this, obviously, um, I can't watch any of Spielberg's films anymore without like I go back to The Fablemans a lot because that was a really great
Mm,
movie that nobody watched, and it's obviously about it's semi
about his life, yeah.
autobiographical, and the so also sort of independent of our Spielberg and space theme. I've been watching just other Spielberg movies so far this month. I watched like Jurassic Park 1 and 2, uh, Catch Me If You Can, and man, the recurring theme in Spielberg films of separated parents or divorced parents, it's like just a thread. It's just a constant thread.
Mm.
One
Or
letterbox
what you're
user,
It had a huge impact on him very clearly.
right
because
about what you
like
know.
because
Yeah.
the kids in Jurassic Park, they're there because their parents are divorced and they're spending time with grandpa this weekend. Catch Me If You Can, the parents get separated in a pretty pivotal kickoff of the action of that movie. So like it's just, but someone on Letterboxd joked that like Spielberg's parents getting divorced may have been the best thing for cinema. Um,
No, for real though. Like
you know,
it pushed him in a lot of ways, obviously.
yeah, and
I mean, maybe he would have become a filmmaker without it, but
in
these
this, I mean,
movies
it's
would be
hard.
different.
It's hard as a child watching this, that was an aspect that didn't really stand out to me that much. I
Right.
don't even
Same.
remember I don't even remember the fact that his I didn't remember that his dad wasn't even in the movie. Like
Well, and
I
I
just
think that's an
wasn't
important
there.
thing to point out because you
Yeah.
mentioned earlier, David, that you didn't remember a lot of this. And I think that that's huge. There's such a huge life difference between 5 and 10 and
Mm,
30 and 35.
Yeah.
mhm,
Wink, you know. And so I think that going through this as an adult, it is not the same experience as a child. The child, you're like, oh my goodness, look at the alien. Yeah, why are the bad guys trying to get him? Oh my God. And you still have that emotion,
Mhm.
but there's a lot more understanding there.
Yeah.
I when I was a kid, there's absolutely no way that I would have understood that the ET and Elliot were actually connected. Like
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah, I don't
understand
know that
that
that would have
as a
gotten
That
to
kid.
was
me
like a
either.
new plot point for me because
Hmm.
the whole scene where like he's whatever ET is doing at home and it's like Elliot's feeling the effects of it at school. I was like, is this felt like new footage as far as my brain was concerned. Where like Elliot's like drunk at school and all that. Like that was a
It's really
blast.
interesting because Spielberg said in my special feature that that Close Encounters was an alien movie from an adult's perspective, and E.T. was an alien movie from a child's perspective. And this was done intentionally to the point in production where most of the movie was filmed from the height of a child, so
Yes,
that
yeah,
you would really feel that perspective of
Mhm.
Yeah.
not just Elliot, but ET too. And so I think that's probably there's some there's some reverse psychology going on back there in the mind of a child where you're
yeah.
watching it
I mean,
as a
and there's
kid from their point of view. And so you're like, yeah, you don't notice that stuff. Elliot probably didn't know he was drunk either.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I didn't actively notice this until, gosh, it must have been halfway through. But I started to pick up on a detail, and then it was kind of once I had it, there was a scene that really confirmed it for me. But other than Elliot's mother, we don't see the faces of any adults
Yes.
until
A lot of
until
waist
Agent
stuff.
Keys,
It's
all
the
from the
I
kid's
waist
noticed that
down.
height.
too.
His teacher, you only see like the teacher's arm and waist. When the cop comes to talk to them about Elliot being missing, you only see him from behind, and you see kind of
Yeah.
shoulders down. It's not till I guess for lack of it, Agent Keys, who bends down to talk to Elliot about how they really want to help ET and they don't want him to die and stuff. That's the first time you see another adult's face, and after that point, it kind of you see a lot more of their faces. But after that point, it's like. I was trying to figure out was there an exact symbology to that beyond just, you know, putting the focus on the kids, but it's an interesting one to try to dissect if people want to.
I noticed the same thing, and for me, it came down to a level of fear or people not willing
Mhm,
to listen. Like, mom will listen to you no matter what, right? There's
mhm.
safety there, there's familiarity there, there's love there, there's care there, and then everybody else is, maybe
Well,
they're nice, maybe they're there to help, but ultimately they're not there for you, and they're not going to listen, and you get no connection with them,
mhm.
but so much connection with ET
Well, and it's
because he's there looking at you and you have that emotion with the alien.
and there's definitely, I mean, it's a purposeful representation of sort of the distance that like Elliot feels between, I think it's even possible to say, adult men in his life with his dad gone, that he has no connection to, the other adult men in his life. They're teachers, they're police officers, they are scientists, they're whatever. Like he's not connected to them. And it's not until Keys lowers himself to Elliot's level to speak with him in a very like real way that he's like seeing. I don't know, like because they're very, it's a low, it's an undercurrent, but their sadness over their dad being gone is uh, uh psychologically very present. So it's I don't know.
Very
It is
much
a
so.
fun aspect of this movie I didn't remember.
I want to talk about some of the more iconic moments from this movie that have
Oh, you're gonna
stood
get
the
us on
test of
Reese's Pieces
time,
again.
being Reese's Pieces, yeah, which will definitely be edited in somehow.
You
The
know,
Wikipedia for M&M's says that they are a sugar-coated dragée chocolate confectionery.
dragée
Dragée.
Thanks.
sounds too French to me.
No, they are candy. Y'all are listen,
I didn't write the wiki.
Look, I am overthinking it, but I am overthinking it from a place of education where I know that
I much
there are
prefer.
bars, there are Hershey bars, right?
Yeah,
There's the
yeah.
chocolate bar as a variety of candy.
There, yes.
You don't think of chocolate and say a jawbreaker. They're both candies, but they're not the same type of candy. You would define them in different ways.
A Jawbreaker is a long-lasting sour candy, and an M&M is a candy. It's just
I
a
think
candy.
a Jawbreaker is a mistake.
You
I don't like them.
You know,
shouldn't break your
They
jaw.
used to be finishing
there
moves,
are-
but now everybody does them.
There are gummy bears, right? That's
Yes.
candy. But
it's a gummy bear.
Gummy bears are very different than, say...
But it's a gummy bear.
What's
That's true, it's a
another,
gummy
like,
bear.
different
It's not
candy?
it's a gummy bear.
Right, but it's
technically
a
an
gummy
M&M is an
candy.
M&M, but it's an M&M. It's a
Or
candy.
you can
It's a-
stop after
it's a
gummy
gummy
and just
candy.
say it's a
A
gummy.
Reese's Pieces is also a candy. It's just a
Really?
candy.
I would call it like a pebble candy or something like that. It just
No
feels
one
like
will ever
that's
call it a
right.
pebble candy.
You know, or like a marble
Pebble
candy.
candy?
Yeah.
That sounds gross.
Yeah, I
'Cause
don't
it's
like
like a
that.
You
Sounds like I'm
you can
telling
deal 'em
someone
out
to
in
go
little
eat
pebbles.
rocks. It sounds like I'm telling someone to go eat
Well,
rocks.
that's what rock candy is.
I would gladly go eat
Then
those rocks.
we've already got a category for that now, don't we, David?
I know, but this is different because it's not like sugary in the same way. I'm just surprised.
No
that's all.
rocks are
I'm just
sugary,
surprised.
David.
Well,
Not naturally.
rock candy is like Suckers.
Maybe in the Big Rock Candy Mountain.
Big rock candy.
Well, okay, so a rock candy is a
Legit
sucker
listen
now.
to that song
wow.
this week.
Look,
for no
you're
reason.
just tying yourself into knots now.
I'm just using the same clinical approach that I use with everything.
Boy, I would hate to be a Joe Clinic.
I'm not suggesting that it should be this way. I'm just surprised that it is. I'm surprised that like legally there's not some kind of classification that M&M was forced to patent. You know what I mean?
Well,
M&M
you can't have been the
patented
first.
M&M.
That's fine. Even if they weren't the first, though, you think there'd say some kind of definition.
Would it satisfy you if I compromised and just said it's a chocolate candy?
It is a chocolate candy. We agree.
There
on
you
that.
go. It's a
Yeah.
chocolate candy.
It's a
There,
chocolate candy.
we found the
But
bipartisan.
there's got to be a name for like the shell and like they come in the individual.
Dragé, I think.
Dragé. I mean,
I'm not calling
And none of us like that.
yeah, it's too
I'm
French.
not. I'm not fancy enough. We're too far from the South. It'll come out like dredgy or something like that. Nobody wants a dredgy candy.
But that there's a lot of it, right? There's the.
Mhm.
I mean, this became or the scene of E.T. and Elliot flying across the moon became the logo for Amblin Pictures and still is to this day. So we see that on movies that aren't even ET movies ever. There's a ride at Universal Studios still to this day. I rode it in February. It was great. I'd never ridden it before. That was fun.
Is it a roller coaster?
It's not a roller coaster. Well, nah, you wouldn't call it a roller coaster. I don't know what you'd call it, but it moves but it's slower than that.
A ride of some sort.
Takes you through the movie sort of,
Okay.
which was really neat to experience. But yeah, and I think Drew Barrymore is iconic in this movie as her little child self, cute as could be.
Stand out. She is
Right.
adorable.
You
When
know,
she's trying to show her mom drunk ET for the first time, oh my God, that scene is hilarious. Because you're like, girl, shut up. And then drunk ET's just going back and forth.
I want to, oh gosh. Now I
E.T.
can't
Phone
remember
Home.
What it was.
Iconic.
Oh, there's a Tom and Jerry cartoon that plays.
Yes.
And Tom watches that. So I want to point out, by the way, this is going to be a little bit of, I'll tease to one of our next performances because I'm interested to see if we can get this in Disclosure Day. But in Close Encounters, we had a Daffy Duck cartoon with Duck Dodgers. In this one, we get Tom and Jerry. We're going to get a certain yellow square guy in War of the Worlds. I just want there to be a cartoon character featured in Disclosure Day.
We'll see.
To complete this mini quadrilogy. We'll see on that.
I wouldn't have thought to look for it.
But no, but yeah, Drunk E.T. The scene I read that the scene where E.T. hides among the stuffed animals and the mom just kind of glosses over him, that's a Robert Zemeckis pitch for a scene that he got out of coming out of the movie. He read the script and he was like, "You should have." I'm not going to do.
It's
Robert
very
Zemeckis,
funny.
but he's like, "You should do E.T. hiding amongst the stuffed animals," and his head's just in there.
How about also, the Reese's Pieces are what people say are the big product placement, but there was an obscene amount of Star Wars mentions in this movie.
Star Wars,
Lando Calrissian toys, a big Yoda
I'm wondering
costume.
if that was a
Is that
nod
part of the
to
bet?
his friend, part of the bet. I mean, listen, they made so many toys for that. Specifically, that was the key. So I'm sure they were like
just a
super
few years
popular
later.
too. Exactly. So I'm sure they were super popular. And you know what? If there is a little bit of something, and he gets some rewards off of them Star Wars toys too, why not?
I
Hey,
mean,
look,
he's using ET to sell Star Wars toys. Yeah,
the
yeah,
success of Star Wars was more so a success. Like Star Wars might owe just as much of a success to its merchandising plan than it
Yeah,
does to
for
the
sure.
films itself. The toys were
sure.
crazy. It's why Boba Fett was so popular, was because his toy was so popular. He was like a
Yeah,
rare figure. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, we get a little shot of like a kid dressed as Yoda during the Halloween segment, and fun enough. This is the
and
ET.
Mike does Yoda impressions like twice, I think.
George, yes, he does. George Lucas pays it back in Phantom Menace during the big Senate scenes. If you watch carefully, there is one of those little discs with all the people in them. That's a group of ETs, a little group of like you can see them. They're going like, no, no, we vote no, whatever. So watch for that
Yeah,
next time you watch
interesting.
Phantom Menace. Watch for the little ETs in there. Um,
Nice.
so Spielberg and Lucas's friendship always paying off in that regard. But
I
the yeah.
Go ahead, David.
But I would say product placement. There's Coca-Cola everywhere. Um, I'm trying to remember. There was something else specific that I feel like there were certain toys and stuff that were promoted
Quite a
as
lot of
beyond
Coors
just the Star
Light.
Wars one. Yes, Coors Light V8. I think I saw in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I want to, we're talking about Spielberg in space. This was was it his fifth movie? Did this come out immediately after Close Encounters, or was
I
there
just had
something in
this.
between? I
No,
can't
so
remember.
this was right. This would have. This would have been right after Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Okay.
This was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This was his seventh
Okay.
film.
So still his seventh film. And
Mhm,
let me say, the dude always was good, but like
mhm.
this one you get to really see him shine. Some of the shots that he crafts, the storyboarding, the vision that he has, he's so, in this book again, he says that the biggest difference between him and Francis and George was that he wanted to be a director. The other two wanted to be filmmakers,
Okay.
and they didn't like the word director. But Steven wanted to be a director. He wanted to control the environment. He wanted to control the shots, and he wanted to set up and try things and push everything that he could do. And you can just really see the evolution, especially as we go through these space movies. You can see the evolution from Close Encounters of the Third Kind, which holds up incredibly well for 2006 and the special effects and the shots. But the progression from those two to ET even is just astounding. And
Yeah.
he's already two Oscars deep or whatever when he comes to ET. It's just, the dude is awesome.
Yeah, no, this was, we have taught, and this, and honestly, this, I'm going to keep coming back to this. There are elements in here that showcase Spielberg's skill for scares. Like there's some stuff in here that if you're a young child might be a little creepy, might be a little scary.
Yeah.
I tried to show this
ET
to
himself is scary.
my son Jack, and he was like, "This is very scary to me." The first like 25 minutes, and I was like, "Eventually, it's very cute." And he kept saying, "Can we get to the cute part? Can we just skip
Yeah.
to that?" And I was like, "Well, you kind of need to get through the scary part to get to the because."
It's
He's in
part
the
of life, kid.
shed. He's in the cornfield. When he ran across, Elliot in the cornfield, and he's like, "Shut light on." He was like, he's like, "No, that's like for me." But it showcases that. It showcases the wonder, the sense of adventure, he just, like that's what Spielberg's whole brain, whole style is. And then there's other elements too you can wrap up in there. But, he has also just such a nice, like diverse uh, range of movies from big blockbusters um, to really thoughtful, like, awards type films. And maybe we'll do some of those in the future one day too. Um,
Spielberg at
but
the Oscars.
the only thing that this one, sort of, it's still very early on it's early enough on enough in his career. You can see the change, the upgrades since Close Encounters. It's a little bit more there's a bit more of a story. There's a bit more like specific character arcs in this, whereas Close Encounters was a bit more of like you're kind of experiencing it as it happens. The characters are very, like that characters in the first movie are very cagey and they're not exactly sharing every thought that they have, but kids, they share their
Mhm,
thoughts.
mhm.
They're just out with it. Um, so you can kind of see the growth starting to happen here as we go
Mhm.
on.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
And then we get to the emotional parts. You know, E.T. starts to talk.
Mm-hmm.
He almost dies. Guys, that was absolutely, and that was
Oh,
terrifying. That was
It
no,
terrible.
was
that
pretty
shot of him in the
traumatic.
river like really threw me off.
He
Yes,
looked
it was
I don't
rough.
remember that at all.
awful. It was,
Yep.
again, that just shows this is 1982. Guys,
Mm-hmm.
that's an incredible practical effect of a puppet. Like,
Yeah,
that would have been the whole, like, can you imagine this movie in 2026? It would be
yeah,
absolutely awful because it
yeah.
would be so CGI'd.
Yeah, there'd be a lot of space
There'd be a
stuff.
little there would be something lost in that.
Very much
I
so.
was gonna shout out, where is it? The Carlo Rambaldi did the ET design. If you look at him, he kind of looks like ET. Um, he did the design for ET, which is creepy and cute at the same time. Somehow nails that little weird line
Yeah.
of he can be a little off putting, but also he can be very sweet. You watch him ambling around his
Amblin.
and you get it
Ayo.
around the kitchen with his little robe on, and then the voice, uncredited, but the voice provided by Pat Welsh, who gave us like the iconic lines of "ET phone home," and like, gosh, if I didn't hear that a billion times growing up.
Right. I love him. E.T., he's just a little guy. He's just a little guy.
He is. But last thing I want to really mention, you mentioned Drew Barrymore, but the kid
Yeah.
performers in this are really good. Um,
Stellar.
Robert McNaughton as the older brother. I didn't
Interstellar.
even remember him having an older brother as a kid. Henry Thomas, who plays Elliot, he's the whole core of this movie, is on this, 10, maybe, I don't know, maybe he's 12 at this age, but this young performer, and it just works. They're great at this.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure. They all bring a lot of charm to the role. Drew Barrymore as Gertie is very fun and cute and innocent. Um, the way she's like, "Yeah, I taught him how to speak.
Mhm.
What of it?" But like moments after she was screaming in his face,
Yeah.
and then
B.
Mike has his moment of getting to save. He saves E.T.'s life. He's the one who finds him in the river
Mm-hmm.
like that. So
Goes out and
a lot,
finds him.
lot of
Yeah.
great tearjerker performances from the kids. Um, well, on that note, do we want to go to our final rating and star number 4, E.T.?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm really kind of having a hard time. I think I'm gonna give it 5 stars
Mm,
because obviously it's a
okay.
classic, and I didn't feel let down in any way. I was actually surprised by what else was in it. But it's kind of interesting because I haven't rewatched this. This isn't like one I rewatch all the time, so I don't know if I'm gonna. I mean, I don't know.
I might now.
I might rewatch it more often now. I definitely want to go pick up a copy of it because I don't have. This is one of the few I don't actually have a
Mm,
physical copy of. So
it
I'll
would
have
be
to
nice
see.
to
I
have.
mean, it is, and
I
it's
mean, I
really
have
good.
it.
So there you go.
I would say, I'm gonna just agree with you on the 5 stars. I think it's a great movie that holds up so incredibly well. I don't think there's probably some faults people could find. I wouldn't argue with them, but I'm gonna give it 5 stars because it felt just as homey and nostalgic to me, so many years later as it felt comforting watching it as a kid. I think so. Great movie. He should make more Alien movies after Disclosure Day.
Yeah, going through this series, it definitely is like something that you can tell he's passionate about and so still has this adventurous excitement for. So I agree, 5 stars. Afterwards, while they talk about perfect movies, they talk about Back to the Future being in that line. I got nothing to say about this one. People could probably pick it apart. I mean, that's what critics are for. That's why we're fans, boys, and that's why we don't care. But this just
Suck it.
it gave me all the vibes of when I watched The Goonies, right? Like
Hmm.
it had
Yep.
Goonies in space. It's like F the government, hang out, like,
Yeah.
Goonies never die. This sloth is E.T., like pirates, but aliens, like I'm here for it. So it was 5 stars across the board, boys. That's awesome.
Excellent. Very fun. Well, will the Letterboxd community love it as much as we do? We'll be taking our guesses here. I have the review page pulled up for some of the most popular reviews. Um, 4 stars. The guy who did CPR on ET just wanted an excuse to get action with those crusty alien goblin lips.
You know what?
He
That was
was
one of my
crusty.
takeaways. Is like, this isn't Alien. Why do you assume that your human medicine will work on him? Stop that. You don't know.
Oh, here you go. 5 stars. Steven Spielberg's parents getting divorced might have been the best thing to happen to modern American filmmaking.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was the one. Yeah.
Yeah, was that it? And then finally 5 stars. The last 20 minutes of this movie is John Williams doing Beethoven level shit.
We should have talked about that a little bit. John Williams, there's a great this will be all I say about it. John Williams obviously amazing. But there's if you go on YouTube, search AFI Steven Spielberg John Williams, there is a 5-minute speech of Steven Spielberg talking about John Williams, the impact that he's had on film, on Spielberg movies. He shows a rough cut of the segment in ET where they jump off the cliff and they fly across the moon, and there's just no music at all. It's just all wind and noise and dialogue. And he talks about how John Williams makes bikes fly and broomsticks fly and dinosaurs come to life. Like we put it on screen, but he makes it believable, and things like that. So it's a great speech. Go check that out on YouTube.
Excellent. Yeah. Love the John Williams score. All right. Who is guessing first this week? I don't think it's me. I think I have a good
Josh.
lead finally.
I'm me. I'm in last.
Okay.
But it's
hit
close.
us.
Josh
It's
has
fine.
got at least a 1-point cushion.
Yes, it's me 5, Garrett 6, Josh 8. So Josh has got a
okay.
nice padding there, but if I get a direct hit here, we're gonna go. I'm trying to think if because I often look at like the Letterboxd top 200 or whatever it is that they have. Trying to remember if I've ever seen ET on there. I'm gonna guess it's like
It's a
a
lot of
4.1.
Okay.
I am going to go higher, and I think that we had a 4.4 with, what was that Alfred Hitchcock movie that we did?
Rear Window?
The
Rear Window.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be there. I'm going to go 4.4.
Okay.
Oh, that's way up there. Okay.
Oh, man. Well, that just, I don't know. It'd be awfully disappointing if it weren't 4 stars in my eyes.
It would be. I would agree.
So I'm gonna do the boring thing, I guess, and cut you guys in half. Well, not quite in half, but I'm gonna go with the 4.2 side. On this, so we got 4-1, 4-2, and 4-4 as guesses. No direct hit this week. Sorry to say. And the winner is going to be David.
Oh,
with his 4.1, because this movie is disappointingly, I might add, a 3.8.
A
Wow.
3.8. Wow.
Flabbergast.
That's not bad,
Wow.
but I agree. It should be a 4 at least. Come on.
Flabbergast.
I don't feel good winning that, but I will take the point.
I know, it feels bad, doesn't it?
3.8 is fascinating. That's
Yeah. What was
surprising.
counters? Do you remember?
I don't remember off the top of my head.
hang on, I can look that up real fast.
Yeah, look that up real
No,
quick.
that is surprising though. I mean, I wonder if that's a generational thing. I wonder if this holds up to
Could
like
be.
for
You never know.
youngers.
Who's
Close
watching it and
Encounters was
logging in.
also a 3.8.
Interesting. Okay, we're
So they
certainly
viewed 'em the
overshooting
same.
these.
Yeah, it is strange.
Hey,
I mean, it
I
does
don't regret my 5 stars.
3.8 is a good
No.
score, but it is surprising.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's a surprising
What
one
a
for this
bummer
week.
note to end on.
I know.
Maybe our 5 stars will raise it up.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm gonna log it right after this. All right, well, that'll do it for our ET episode. We've still got more Spielberg in space to come with
War
a
of the
look
Worlds,
at War of the
friends.
Worlds and Disclosure Day to round out the month. So be sure you subscribe to the show on YouTube or Spotify or Apple Podcasts or whatever app you use for podcasting. You can find us at SoManySequels.com and on Instagram at SoManySequelsPod. Go check out War of the Worlds. That's what we're watching next. We'll see you guys next time.